Blog Talk Radio. You are now tuned in to another episode of Two Lit Tuesdays right here on Endie Fiya with your host, Nakia. That was D. Wow and Willie G with 20 questions. And I don't know what the hell I played a song talking about 20 questions because I'd be damned if they didn't ask 20 questions. Oh, all right. With that being said, okay. So we were just going to, freestyle and put the new music, as an intro or whatever, but no, I need an intro, so it's time to get on that search again. I need an intro, and I'm going to need it by next Tuesday. So if I've already reached out to you before, or you reach out to me, and, our heads butt, then you don't need to reach out to me again for this intro. Appreciate you, but we're going to move on and, see can we get somebody else on. All right, so I'm going to give you that contact information before the show ends, and hopefully we can get this intro. We will have this intro by next Tuesday. All right? Good. Guys, I want to say my voice. It may go in and out tonight, so just bear with me. Today's been one hell of a day for me, like really tumultuous day. So I took some medicine, and it's messing with my voice, my throat really bad. Um, so if my voice, if I sound like a frog tonight, that's the reason why. I want to apologize up front. Today is June 18th, as you all know, 2019. On this day last year, we lost a rising hip hop. I want to call him a legend, a young man who made a huge musical footprint um, in the music industry due to the impact that he had on his young fan base. I'm talking about XXX Tentacion, Jase Dwayne, Ricardo Antroy. Again, born January 23rd, 1998, fatally wounded in Deerfield Beach, Florida, at a motorcycle shop on June 18, 2018. He was an American rapper, a singer, and a songwriter. He's very controversial in this industry because of, some personal battles that he challenged. Nevertheless, with his passing, it brought, I think, a new fan base for him. Those who had never listened to his music before all got on board. His music skyrocketed. It did phenomenal numbers, awards that he won last year for his music. And then the CD, they still call them CDs? The album that he put out at the latter part, or that was put out by his camp the latter part of last year. I've been listening to that all day long today because for some reason this young man, and I don't agree with a lot of things that, he experienced or he dealt with and the way he dealt with, in his life, but his music, for some reason, I don't know, when I'm feeling like I'm feeling today, I can always pop his music in and it can take me and bring me back from where I am and take me to another level. So if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to him, I recommend you do so. Rest in peace to XXX Tentacion. Tomorrow, we talked about this last week, but tomorrow is June 19th. Now, many of you may have went to, because I told you to, so I know you did. I know you went to the celebrations this weekend because everybody was having them. And a lot of places will continue to have events on tomorrow as well. But tomorrow is Juneteenth. Some may know it as Juneteenth Independence Day. Some may know it as Freedom Day. It is an American holiday. I tell your boss I said so. It's an American holiday that commemorates the June 19th, 1865 announcement of the abolition of slavery in the United States of Texas, and generally the emancipation of enslaved African Americans throughout the former Confederate States of America. Now, I gave you some homework last week. I told you, for you all who may have just seen, the word, never knew what it really meant, or if you knew a little bit about it, dig a little deeper. And if you knew a lot about it, get out there and make sure that the youth are aware of Juneteenth, the celebration, and what it really means. All right? So tomorrow, Juneteenth, you follow me on social media, so you'll see me reminding you also tomorrow and the significance of it. This is also the month of June. We're a little over halfway through June now. And as you see on the social media pages, we are recognizing and spotlighting a different artist or musical contribution to the industry, and because this is Black Music Month, or African American Music Appreciation Month. It is the annual celebration of African American music in the United States. It was initiated as Black Music Month by President Jimmy Carter on June the 7th, 1979. He decreed that June would be the month of Black music. In 2009, the commemoration was given its current name by President Barack Obama. In his 2016 proclamation, Obama noted that African American music and musicians have helped the country to, I quote, dance, to express our faith through song, to march against injustice, and to defend our country's enduring promise of freedom and opportunity for all. So like I said, each day we're spotlighting an artist or a musical contribution. And today, I believe it's Queen Latifah is today. All right. So, and yesterday was a Tribe Called Quest. All right. So, you may have known about people. You may have not known a lot of information about them. But again, if you're following the pages, you'll be able to just, um, acquire more information on these great contributions to Black music. All right. So with that being said, I want to jump on over to the best part of the show, and that's my guest, our interview. Yes. If you're just tuning in, you're live right here on Endie Fiya, Tuesdays with Nakia. And I think this has been going on probably now for three months. And I say this every episode because I've had so many authors and writers and novelists lately that they're opening up, my, what's the word I'm looking for? They're making me want to write more is what I'm trying to say. All right. So, this is why I'm so pissed off today, or one reason, because I have so much I want to get out. And, like, I look at their social media and I see they're like, no, time to write. I'm about to go get in my corner. Time to write. I just came out with this idea. I just finished this chapter. And I'm like, I don't have no time to do nothing, So I'm glad I get the opportunity to speak to all of these authors and, again, just opening my eyes a little wider to something that I'm very passionate about. Our guest this evening is, I'm not going to mess her beautiful name up, ASEERA, who writes under the pen name of ASEERA. She was born and raised in Philly. She is one of 7 children born to parents who are married or have been married over 50 years. I salute them. I couldn't get past 10, so I salute them. In her 20s, she moved to Virginia to provide a better life for her children. There, she met and married the love of her life, Ryan, a sailor in the U.S. Navy. She has always had a love for writing, and in 2017 published her first book. Since then, many have followed. With over 15 books available on Amazon and many more yet to be published, she writes across many genres. This includes Black historical fiction, urban, contemporary, women's literature, self-help, mystery, and suspense. And I don't know what YA is, so that's going to be my first question. Young adult, maybe that's young adult, all right? We're going to find out what that is shortly. She has started her own publishing company called Dream, Wake, Work Publishing. For submissions, send the first 5 chapters to dreamwakework@gmail.com. She is the mother of 4 and has 2 dogs, Duke and Duchess. She is also a licensed practical nurse who also holds a BA and an MA in psychology with a concentration on meditation and conflict resolution. We need to talk. That says mediation. I can't read. Mediation and conflict resolution. And we definitely need to talk because I got a lot of conflicts I need to resolve. Yes. She looks forward to hearing from her readers via reviews. Follow her on IG under her publishing name and enjoy the stories. Endie Fiya listening audience, I present to you my guest this evening, ASEERA.
Hey, how you doing? I appreciate everybody. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I was trying. I got to work on this. I really do. See, there was that pause because my little audience was supposed to clap, like hysterically for you, but I keep forgetting to hit I keep forgetting to hit it. So, yay, woo! All right, there we go. So before I even jump into anything, I want to know, because inquiring minds also want to know, what does YA stand for?
You were right. It's young adult.
Boom, boom. See, it didn't hit me. Just like, yeah, that's what that is. So there you go, guys. Suspense and young adult. Awesome. When did you realize that you wanted to be a writer?
You know what? I've written my whole life. I mean, I really have. I can remember back in like 8th grade for graduation. I had poems that were published in our little yearbook, for graduation in 8th grade. And my family's always, if some kind of special occasion comes up, I get the phone call like, hey, we need a poem, or we need a story, or we need you to tell us about, put Aunt so-and-so into these words or whatever. I've always done it. But, in our community, it's not like, nobody says, okay, you can go be make a living off of writing. So it was kind of something that, I always did in the background, but I knew, I had to go to school. and get those degrees and things. So that's what was going to pay the bills. As a matter of fact, with my oldest son, he's 22 and in college now. But when he was little, I didn't really buy him books. I would write the books for him. So it would be like Tavir's first day of school, Tavir leaves the truth, those, yeah, like those pivotal moments in his life, I would, gear them towards him so that when we were, going to bed at night, I would read the stories of him to him. So I've always been, a writer. It's just 2 years ago I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and publish something.
How did you publishing your first book change your writing process?
It was just a learning. It was a learning process. It still is. I think for me, it just gave me a little bit more confidence because the little handful of people who did read it were like, "Oh, this is really good." You know what I'm saying? Because I never really felt like a whole lot of people would read my book. But it made me focus more on putting more work out there. Like the more people wanted, the more I wanted to kind of give them. And I always have stories in my head. Like it's like every day some character's talking to me. So it increased, the time that I take to actually write. So I basically do it full time now. So like, publishing that first book and then into the second and into the third, it kind of just like increased with each book the time that I put into it. So I think that's kind of how it changed.
That's amazing. I want to pause just a moment. You have a caller, and they've been very patiently waiting on the line for some time now. So I'm going to go ahead and open the phone up to the caller who's out here showing their support. Good evening. You're live right here. Endie Fiya, how are you?
Hi, this is Tanisha Stewart. I'm listening in for. I'm a huge fan. I love all her books. Everything she writes is gold.
Yeah, I know her. Awesome. I'm back at you.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to put you back on mute, and you can listen to the remainder of the show.
Mhm.
So, a fan of the author. Thank you so much for calling in, Ms. Tanisha. When you sit down to write a story, do you know how it's going to end?
You know what? It depends on the story. But I would say 9 times out of 10, I don't. I'm just going with the flow. And that's why, my stories end so many different ways. I don't, some of them people are like, I didn't like the way this, I love the story, but I thought it was going to end this way. And I'm thinking in my head, like, girl, so did I. So, but, or, a plot twist will come to me, or I'm like, no, that's too much. Or, you know what, she got to die. I'm sorry. I know she's the star, but, she got to go. So I really, it's like, I mean, I get my messages. I get messages and emails like, I can't believe you did that. But it's like, the story. This is how, and I know I've said this, in other interviews, but the stories play out for me as if I'm watching TV, as if I'm like, watching a movie or watching a TV show, and I'm just recording what I'm seeing. Like I actually see it playing out. I see, him walk into the room and her reaction, and so I'm just kind of recording it. So 9 times out of 10, I don't really know how it's going to end, but sometimes the ending will come to me first, and that's happened a couple times, but not really. So I would say no, I really don't. I don't. So when and I'm always nervous, of how the fans are gonna react to the ending, because I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. So I would say I don't really.
Describe your writing process.
I just write. I carry my laptop everywhere I go. If we're going to the park, I put my laptop in my bag. If we, we going to the library, I put the laptop in my bag. If we going to the store, if we going to church, I got the laptop because I'm typing on my way. I don't necessarily, I can't I can't like listen to music or be reading a book while I'm writing because of the way the story comes to me. So I will say that I kind of need as much quiet as I can get, and a glass of sweet red wine, and we just go from and then I just kind of go from there. You know what I'm saying? And I can write for hours at a time as long as I have the house isn't too much of an uproar, because I do have 3 children that live at home. So, but my husband's really good about keeping them away from me when I'm like in the zone. So I mean that's just my process. I just write, and I write whenever I can, and basically really all day, unless I'm doing something for a client, or doing some developmental edits for my new authors. Unless I'm doing some work like that, I'm just writing really.
Wow. So you kind of dipped into my next question. How do you stay disciplined and not get distracted?
I've always had like that one track mind. If I'm focused on something, then I'm focused on it. And like even if I'm watching a TV show, if my husband comes in to talk to me, I gotta mute it so I can what you're talking about, so I can kind of focus on him. But also, if I have in my head that I'm going to do something, then I just do it. And I think that was just like the way that we were raised, you know what I'm saying? So if I'm like, okay, I need to get this book done, I'm going to do, 10,000 words today, then I generally will do it. Yeah, there are distractions. Like I have a 3-year-old, and he's like, Mom, we got to play cards. So, of course, I'll put it up for a little while, and we'll go play cards. But, I still in my head, the story's going, so it's just what I do, and I'm just able to, with the stories constantly in my head, I just kind of focus on what I need to do. So that's kind of, that's just kind of how I keep myself disciplined. I just do it, and I know that it has to be done. And I'm also the type of person that once I start something, 9 times out of 10, I need to finish it. So it'll bother me. It'll bug the hell out of me if I don't finish it. So I can't have like half-written stories. That'll drive me crazy. So I know I have to do it. I know I do.
I know this is way, way off subject, but you have a 22-year-old and a 3-year-old, and then 2 more in between.
Girl.
I just want to make sure I heard that right. Oh, bless your heart. Oh.
Yeah, okay.
So
yeah, I do. No,
what are the other 2 children?
17 and 12.
And a 3-year-old? Girl.
Yeah. I know, right? I know. Surprise. Because Lord knows I thought I was done. But he's a blessing. And he's going to be on TV with his drama. I tell you what. But I started having kids early. Like, I had my oldest son a month and 4 days after I turned 16. My son was born on Christmas of 96. So, he's 22, but I'm a relatively young mom to have somebody that's, going to be graduating college next year. And, the other 2 came kind of, 5 years with a 5-year difference. So it kind of gave me time to get some things together in between. Like I had him and, finish high school and, finish the school and get a job, and then so it kind of gave me some time in between. So there are good ages in between. But, yeah, the 3-year-old, he slid in there. I tell you what.
That's how I feel about my 13-year-old. Because all of mine are like 3. I have 4 also, but they're all 3.5 years apart. Then there's like a 5.5 year gap between my daughter and my youngest son. And so, but I wouldn't trade any of them. Wouldn't trade any of them for the world. But most definitely would not go backwards at this point in my life. No, ma'am. So, on average, how long does it take you to write a book? I know you mentioned, you set your goals for yourself, and you may say, okay, I'm going to do 10,000 words today. I have one author who is like, I got to knock out 4 chapters a day. So, how long does it typically take you to write a book?
3 to 7 days, and like I said, I know like people are like that's quick, but that's because the way that it plays out in my head, and it doesn't stop. Like I don't have a pause button for it. So if I have to like go out and do something, I have a notebook where I take with me as well, and I like make notes. But and a lot of my books are novellas, but not all of them. Some of which means that they're like under the 40,000 words. They might be like 32,000 or I'm sorry, my novellas are like from 17,000 and up. And I do have some novels, full novels that are over 40,000 words. But if I'm doing a book that's maybe like a novelette to a novella, which is up to 40,000 words, then it probably takes me like 3 to 7 days. If I'm doing a full novel, it might take like a week and a half. So that's kind of how long it takes me to knock them out.
I know that you mentioned when you start writing, you kind of get into that zone, and you may have had some type of idea in the direction that your book was going to go, but then it may have changed. And then your readers question, like, oh, my God, what happened? I didn't expect that. Do you write to deliver what the readers want, or do you write how you're passionate and what you feel?
You always want to appeal to your readers, but I would say that it's more, my passion, like what I'm passionate about, and it, comes from like, what's in my mind or maybe what's going on, or what I'm thinking about at the time. So, I know that they're not always gonna be happy, with what's going on, in the book, or they may not be happy with the ending because they thought it should have gone another way. But I like 98% of the time I get very, very good reviews for my books, even with the plot twist. They're like, and I think that they like that though. I think that they like, sometimes, it's not ending the way that they thought it was going to end, or, but I would have to say, like I said, I want them to be happy, but I just have to write what I'm passionate about. I always have. So that's what it is. And, sometimes if they request a part 2 to a book, I will do a part 2 for them. I do things like that. Or, if they requested somebody, a specific character have their own little book, then I'll do like a little spin-off, like one character, Sean, from my series When He's Bad for You. People don't know it yet, but Sean does have a little spin-off book called Finding Sean that I'm going to be publishing soon. So I'm doing that because the characters were like, no, what happened to Sean? We need to know. So I do, I want them to be happy, but I also have to be passionate about what I'm writing, and I have to be true to myself, really.
Do you read your book reviews?
I do read my book reviews.
And how do you feel? How do you feel with good versus bad?
I mean, of course, I look at like the star ratings really, but if somebody's like, sometimes I think that as artists we're kind of sensitive, so I'll check in like with Tanisha Stewart, the author that called in, who is an amazing author, in her own right, and she's been very encouraging to me on this journey. If somebody like gives me 3 stars, and they're like, hey, I wanted more of this or more of that, I'll kind of check in with different authors that I feel like are, who I admire, and I read their work, and I'm like, hey, what did you think, when you read the book? And they'll tell me honestly, so and it's all a learning experience. Like I said, I'm not upset if you didn't like the book, because everything is not for everybody. I do think of, what I could have done better. That's why I like to kind of like, get some feedback for it. But, everything's not for everybody. But I do appreciate the people who do, love my books and, do the reviews. I want more, like, review it. Let me know what you feel.
How do you write across so many genres?
You know what? I've never been in a box. I'm like, this chick from Philly that listens to, rap and country music. Like I can't be, so like whatever, what I'm saying, like what, whatever comes to my mind comes to my mind. You know what I'm saying? If it's, you know, a werewolf and a vampire, then we doing paranormal today. You know, if it's I actually was not an urban writer, and I will say this, my urban books are published through Supreme Works. And that's Casey Mills, and she's, I mean, we all know she has like over 100 number ones. I mean, she's under Leo Sullivan. Like, my urban is under her, and it was a challenge because I didn't write urban. I submitted contemporary to her, and she loved my contemporary. She's like, I love your contemporary, but I don't really have that audience. I have an urban audience. So I took 3 days. She kind of challenged me. She gave me a challenge to read one of hers. I read 2 chapters of it. I said, let me put this away. And it was really good, so it was hard to put it away. But I said, let me put this away and see, if I'm on the right track. So I took 3 days. I wrote When He's Bad For You 1. I sent it to 2 of my test readers. They came back like, I love this more than I love anything else you wrote. And I was like, really?
Wow.
So when I sent it to her, she was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. So that's where the 6 urban books that I have came, When He's Bad For You 1 through 3 and When She's Bad For You 1 through 3. And they kind of go together. I mean, I know it's 2 different series, but they do go together. So that's where that came from. But like Black historical fiction, I'm a history buff. I don't even know why I didn't go to school for that. Like, I love it. I don't know why I don't have ladies in waiting. Like, I just, I love history, the queens and the kings and the castles and the love and the heirs. But I also love being Black, and I love our people. So, when I write about it, I'm like, we were kings and queens, and we still are. So, when I write my historical fiction, my characters are Black. And, if I'm, but then, I'm saying I'm a modern woman. I have children, I have career, I have, a husband. So then we're going to write about that too, me and my girlfriend. So it just comes to me. It's life. It's things that I love. It's, the things that inspire me. And if it's not all in one box or all in one genre, then it just isn't. And I trust the readers. Some people think, okay, well, your readers, they're not going to like that you do so many different genres, but I trust them, to have an open mind. And if they don't, if they only like my urban and they don't like my contemporary, then I get that. Just read my urban. That's fine. That's with you, but I trust them to kind of grow with me. I think that they do that, and I appreciate it.
That's what's up. We do have another caller. He's very popular tonight. We're going to go ahead and open up the line so we can get this caller on with us. Good evening. You're live right here on Endie Fiya with Nakia. Who do we have on the line?
Hi, it's Kira.
It's who?
I'm sorry, what's your name?
It's Kira.
Kira, okay.
Yes. Hi, Sarah. So I have one question for you. When you have writer's block or during the times that you get discouraged, what do you do to get yourself out of that place?
Dang, she's just all over here in my notes because that was going to be my next question.
And, it's a good question. It's a good question because writers do, everybody experiences it at some point. But I write through mine. Some people take a walk, some people take a break. I just write. And, this is my thing. If I don't like what I wrote when I wasn't really feeling it and I go back, to read through it, then I can always change it. But I can't just stay in that slump because, writer's block can, take a while to kind of get out of. So if I'm not, if the characters aren't talking to me or, then I will be like, I'll think about something, listen to some music, you know what I'm saying? Talk to my oldest son. He always got a story for you, my book, Enough Love for Me, which is about sister wives, is because I promise y'all my 22-year-old son wants more than one wife. So so that like kind of came from him. So I just kind of, I write
like
through
my 24-year-old.
Yeah.
They might know each other. He sounds like a 24-year-old.
Oh, they probably do. but yeah, but that's how I get through my writer's block. I write through it, and then I go back. Of course, as writers, we go back and we read what we've written. And if I don't like what I wrote, then I change it. And if I do like it, then it stays. And that's kind of that's what I do.
Good deal. Thank you for answering my question.
No problem. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you for calling in. Enjoy the rest of your evening, Kara.
Thank you. You too.
I'm going to give you the opportunity now to kind of rest your mouth. Take a little potty break if you need to. If you're tuning in now, you're live right here on Two Way Tuesdays on Endie Fiya with Nakia and our very special guest, the national best-selling author, ASEERA. This right here is the Bars Crew with I'll Never Forget.
Was a surprise. I always tried to impress you with that suit and tie. I lied, made you believe I liked it, kept you excited. You were my sidekick. Now I'm trying to figure out what I did, but sometimes love is really not what it seems. I went to sleep, had dreams of you, then I woke up on TV. Like sometimes love is really not what it means. You know I got love for you, but your love's not what I need. Now I'm riding around trying to figure out what it is about you that I don't like. Tell you the truth, you're not my type, but if it's lies that you want, then I'll just say you're way too kind. And I got music on my mind, so I'll be back in due time. There was a time that I loved you, and I say that love was real. And I say that cause you tried your best to make the best of us. And I know that I loved you, we had that love that killed. But when I drive for the fairway, you put me back in the rough. But look, it's complicated. I'll never forget you. You know I'll never forget. You know I'll never forget. So well, late nights out with the homies, I treated like show and tell. I'd always get showered in compliments, cause you were on my side like some condiments. We softly kissed and I realized we were out of it, cause using you is really not what I mean. I tried to love, but I also tried to do all this for me. Now I'm looking dumb, cause things aren't what they seem. You were my queen and I gave it up for my dream. Now I'm riding around trying to figure out what it is about me that I don't like. Tell you the truth, I make me sick. Now I'm riding around with a trick, trying to make up for what I missed. But makeup wears off, now I wear this fake smile on my lips. There was a time that I loved you, and I say that love was real. And I say that cause you tried to best to make the best of us. And I know that I loved you, I'm feeling it day by day. I'd give away this money and this fame any day, cause look, it's complicated. You know I'll never forget. You know I'll never forget.
Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Jerusalem from the Scarfella Music Group, and you on the air with the hottest station, Endie Fiya, with your host, Lil Timmy and Nakia, right here on the station bringing you all the hottest hip hop hits. Endie Fiya, let's get it.
Let's get it. If you're just tuning in, you're live right here on Two Way Tuesdays with Nakia and our special guest, national best-selling author, ASEERA. And that was the Bars Crew with I'll Never Forget. And thank you, Jerusalem, for that drop. How do you select the names of your characters?
I think I've used every name, like family name I have, but also the names will just, sometimes I'm watching a show and I'm like, that's a really pretty name. Or the name will just kind of come to me depending on, like, the situation that's going on. So there are many different ways that I select their names. So I couldn't even say, that it was just one. It's just, if I hear a pretty name and I'm like, oh, that, I could use that. Or, I'm like, the person that's about to do this dirt, that sounds like Jericho to me, so that's kind of like, how the names come.
What would you say would be the most difficult thing about writing characters from the opposite sex perspective?
I don't really find it hard to write from the opposite sex. And I will say that because I had like a lot of male friends growing up, and I always kind of got their perspective. And then, I have my dad and my husband. So like when I'm, writing about like, the love that black men give, it's because I know it, you know what I'm saying? Or if I'm talking about, the love that they're not given, that's because I've been through it, you know what I'm saying? And I know that too. So I can't really say that it's hard for me. I do, I want them to be believable, and I want them to be, I want them to be like multifaceted. I want them to have different sides to themselves. I want them to be hard when they need to be, strong when they need to be, vulnerable when they need to be. And so sometimes I will say that I try to do the vulnerability but not make them too soft. You understand what I'm saying? I think that may be the thing for me.
Okay. I know that you have your own publishing company. Before taking on that position, did you experience any unethical practices in the publishing industry that made you want to say, hey, I can do this myself, I can do it a little better, this happened to me, I don't want it to happen to anybody else? Did you go through any of that prior to taking on this work? No?
No, I didn't. I have nothing bad to say about Supreme Works and Casey Mills, who was the only. That was with her. Let me say this. There was a company, and I don't want to say the name, but they offered me a contract, but they wanted me to pay into it. So I kind of was like, after talking to my lawyer, I was like, oh, okay, so I shouldn't have. Okay, so now I kind of know, like, you're not supposed to pay up front. So, but that was before, Supreme Works. But as far as like other things that I see writers go through, I haven't had those issues. I've been, happy with, the covers, the exposure, the support, the professionalism. I haven't had any issues. I just have always been, I'm like, okay, I write different genres, and because, at that time, now Supreme Works is expanding, and I love that, into different genres. But at the time that I signed, she didn't, so much have a audience for all of the different genres that I wrote. But KC was really cool, and she told me, because when we were talking about contracts, and I had other companies who wanted me. She was the company that said, you know what, I don't care if you put out different genres with somebody else, as long as as long as our contract is fulfilled, as far as how many books and what have you, we're good. She's like, I know you're a special case. You write different genres. I knew that, from the beginning. Go do your thing. And so I was really, really inspired by her. And I said, you know what? Because I do so many different genres, but when you're looking for different publishing companies, they might only take this one or that one. I said, let me just go ahead and start my own. And it was literally like I was sitting down one day and said, I'm going to just go ahead and start my own, and started researching how to do that. And that's where Dream Wake Work came from.
So talk about Dream Wake Work Publishing.
Well, Dream Wake Work Publishing, kind of started as a place for me to put out, the different genres that I had. Because like I said, I'm not, in a box. I don't just write one genre or two genres. I don't know until I'm writing sometimes. Sometimes when I go to post it on Amazon, I'm like, what is this? Is this a mystery thriller? Like, I can't. It's like, I got to try to figure it out, you know what I'm saying, because they want you to put it in a category. So, but I also wanted to develop other authors, give them a chance, people that maybe other publishing companies wouldn't take a chance on, and kind of help them to develop into, better writers and authors, and help them tell their story. So I have signed a couple authors to Dream Wake Work, Candy Storm, and we are, cleaning up her first book now so that can come out. And then I have a young man named Arnold Nkuna, and he's actually from South Africa. So, we're working on his as well. So theirs will be coming out soon, and I appreciate them for just like trusting me, to kind of help them and guide them on this, this journey. But my company is more than just publishing books. Like, I do ghostwriting. I'll do quick edits for like short stories, author development, manuscript review. So it's kind of expanded. So I have clients where, they'll come in and we'll have a meeting at my dining room table about, they have their book and they want to know this, and, where can they take it? And, we have that discussion, and then I help them kind of get there. So it's expanded for me to help, writers and authors and, people who just, they want to get their stories out there. And some people just don't know how. And I was there. Like, how do I do this? So I just want to, help. So that's where, and Dream Wake Work is just, if you look like, like 2 years ago on my Instagram and things, I would always hashtag Dream Wake Work. That was before I ever thought of having a publishing company. It's just what I did. Like, whatever dream I had, I would wake up and I would get to work on it. And I've had shirts made years ago that said that. So, it was just a logical name for it. And it just encompasses everything that I kind of believe in and what I do. So, that's where, Dream Wake Work is. And I just, I just hope that we continue to grow. So, and I'm excited about it. I really am.
Well, I'm excited for you. I definitely couldn't wake up and write about anything that I dream. Cause, oh my goodness. What was the last thing that you learned?
The last thing that I what?
You learned.
That I learned? Self-care. I'm still learning it. I'm still learning it.
That you
what's the last thing that I taught? Because every day, I don't know. I think the last thing that I taught was that it's okay to start over again. It's okay to start over again. Sometimes, the story that you're trying to tell, it's not coming out right, or, you feel like, people aren't going to get it, and it's okay. It's okay if you go ahead and start over again. There's nothing wrong with that. So that, I want to say that was the last thing that I taught when I was speaking with the client.
And so, do you see yourself combining those two aspects, self-care and giving yourself the capability of starting over? do you make those applicable to what you write about?
I do. I do because it's real for me. And like when I say, self-help book, but my book that I have out there, My Story Isn't Over, and it's poems and short stories by a survivor, is because I'm a domestic violence survivor. And so, I'm not ashamed to say, like, I'm a mental health advocate, and, I go to counseling and, all of that. So that's why I said I'm still learning self-care, and I'm learning that it's okay to start over. And it's okay, that the person that I thought that I was or that I was going to be is evolving. So it's okay. It's all right. And, I have to kind of tell myself that and remind myself of that, especially when I get down, if I'm feeling a little depressed or my anxiety is kicking in, I have to tell myself it's okay. We can go ahead and just do this again tomorrow. And that's fine. And then again, I'm one of those people who I'm so intent on helping everybody else, and you give and give and give until you're empty. So I had to learn, what, if I don't take care of me, yeah, like if I don't take care of me, I don't have anything to pour into you if my cup is empty. So yes, I'm learning that, and I put it into my books. Like my If He Loved You series, the first book introduces you to the three friends, and one of them is is in a domestic violence situation, and the three subsequent books give each friend, their own story, but they're still, there for each other. So I do incorporate, the things that I learn and the things that I go through into my books at times.
I love your transparency. How do you feel that you make a difference in the world?
Just like I said, by helping, through my books, I try for them to be, I wanted to be like a lesson in my books. I have a story that's not, yet out, but when you read through that particular book, it gives you I literally at the end of the chapter will say red flag, and it'll tell you, red flag, when you're dealing with a narcissist, or red flag when, this is what tells you that somebody's controlling. I try for all of my books to kind of tell a lesson, give a lesson, and tell our community things like it's okay, to see a therapist. It's okay if you're on medication. It's okay, mental health. Your mental health is important, or it's okay, to continue your education, to stop, to start again. So I think there's something that people can take away from each of my books. So that's kind of what I give, to the world. And I could say, when I was working with, children and mental health, and I love that. So, kind of like pouring into them. So now that I'm not working with the kids, I kind of feel like I pour into, my writing, what I was pouring into, my patients. And I love it. And I love when people are like, you know what, this opened my eyes to mental health. I didn't realize, or this opened my eyes to the, the fact that we were kings and queens and we were Black, So I just like to teach lessons and put it in my work and give it to people in a way that they'll understand it and they'll take it to heart and they'll carry it with them.
For someone who's listening now, or who may come back and listen to a playback show, and they're hearing everything that you're saying, they have an idea or a concept in their mind, but they just don't know how to get started. They've looked at that paper for so long, they've held a pen for so long, or they sit at the laptop forever, that they just do not know how to get started. What piece of advice can you offer that aspiring author? It'll never get finished if you don't start. So you just do it. And I know that, it sounds like a Nike commercial, but you just have to do it. You have to start writing it. And it doesn't have to start off as a story. It can start off as an outline. It can start off as a character.
You've got Anne in your head, and she's not happy, and whatever. If your character is Anne, then you can write Anne is unhappy. You just have to start somewhere, but you got to start, because if you don't start, then you'll never finish. So, they can always reach me at Dream Wake Work Publishing, and I can kind of, help them and see which, like I said, I do author development as well. But, the main thing I would say is for them to start. And if they need to start small, then start small, but you have to start. You have to.
That's good advice. That's very good advice. Now, don't be like me and start, and you start every day. You start, and it be the same sentence every day. Be the same sentence every day. You gotta go a little bit further now. Trust me, you gotta go a little further. We're at the end of the show, and I hate it. Because you have some people or some guests that you really want to pick their brain on other levels. So we definitely have to bring you back on the show. So I do want to talk to you. You mentioned your learning self-care, and you mentioned, or in your bio it mentioned, that you write about it. And so I think that you can be, or you could be, a very instrumental voice to a lot of our listeners. A lot of our artists are, they stand for numerous different platforms, from domestic violence to rape crisis to mental health.
Yeah.
And so the things that you have touched upon just briefly, I think that you could be or provide different outlets for these individuals. So we'll definitely have you back on the show in the near future. But I want to go ahead and open the floor up now, give you the opportunity to get all of your contact information out for those that are listening now, or those who may come back and listen to one of the, 8, 9, 10 different playback platforms that we're on. The floor is yours. Now go ahead and get your contact information out.
Okay. Well, absolutely. I would love to come back on. You just let me know. And my Instagram is Dream Wake Work Publishing. So you can reach me there. And I also have Facebook. I have 2 different pages, and that's Ta, T-A-H, Dula, D-U-L-A. And then that's my second page is author ASEERA, A-S-E-T-A-H, Dula, on Facebook. So you can follow either or both. We do. I kind of have an intern, aka my daughter, so she manages my my author page. Also on Twitter, I am at Psych, T-S-Y-C-H, capital T 16, and that's how you can reach me there. And I always forget to put the publishing on the end of the Gmail, but it is DreamWakeWork Gmail. I'm sorry, DreamWakeWorkPublishing@gmail.com. If you have any questions, if you want to submit some stories, if you anything, if you want to sign up to be a beta reader for me, that's fine, because I've got plenty of books, that I'm getting ready to put out, and I love to hear people's feedback on them. So that's my my contact information.
Awesome. So, guys, if you didn't catch them all, I hope you did not miss them all. Make sure that you're supporting this author. Her books are available on Amazon, over 15 published, and a lot more to come. Make sure that you're following the show
26.
on social media. Girl, you need to update your bio.
I know. I didn't realize I asked the question. I said, oh, my God, I do have to update it. I have 26 books out. I asked a question, and somebody answered it, and I counted.
Wow, that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
26 books out. This is national best-selling author ASEERA. Make sure that you're following the show on all social media platforms at Endie Fiya. That's ENDIEFIYA. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms. That's Girl in Motion, GRLNMOTION. We'll be back here Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Mogul Music Entertainment hip-hop duo New Wave without the E on the end. So make sure that you're tuning in right here with us at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Back here on Tuesday for another episode of Two Lit Tuesdays with author Monique. I probably left out something. But she'll be here 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on next Tuesday. So, again, if you can't make them all, don't miss them all. And I'm going to leave you with a quote, as usual. Music is the shorthand of emotion. That's Leo Tolstoy. Until Thursday at 7 p.m., have a good night.